Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm here today with my co-host, Sean.
Hey guys, my name is Sean Bryant, or you may know me as the guy with the 1M.
The guy that takes his 1M to Cub Foods. And then we also got our guest. You go by Mike Johnson.
The Mike Johnson, as known as 651MYGarage.
Perfect. So before we get into this, I did want to say a quick thank you to everybody. We got a shit ton of support on the last episode with Trey. That was pretty awesome. Then it kind of cascaded down. Everybody loved Brian's episode after that. It was weird, man. Like, it was just watching the analytics this last week have been absolutely wild. So thankfully we got the most famous Mustang on the planet right now, right in front of us. So I guess let's just kick it off, man. Tell us a little bit about you without any incriminating evidence, and then about you and your car as well, where possible.
So I hated Mustangs, and now that I have one, it's kind of funny, but I started out in the Subaru platform. I was big into Subarus, and I was like, I'm going to beat all the V8s out there with my little Subaru. Come to find out, shortly after modding my Subaru, I was like, this ain't cutting it. YouTube lied, man. My little Subaru is not beating these boosted V8s.
Well, it's expensive.
It was super expensive. So once I went stage 2, I did all the stage 2 stuff. And if you guys watch my channel, you always see that I clown around stage 2.
Right.
Numbers, I always say stage 2, this, that.
Yeah.
But and then they're like, the next step is build block, big turbo. And then I finally did all of that.
With the Subaru.
Yeah, with my Subaru. I had it all in my Subaru, and then the last day of class, someone totaled my front end. I came out after work, and there's so much people buy my Subaru. I'm like, what's going on? Wow, I got a following, I got a crowd, all right. And they're like, no, your front end's gone. I'm like, oh, damn. Okay, so someone backed up into my Subaru and took out my front end, while parked. So.
And where did this happen?
Downtown Minneapolis.
And was this like during like an event or something?
No, it was for work. I do construction, so I was downtown Minneapolis in a construction site.
Yeah.
And they're like, everyone's always joking about, wow, the nicest car on the block's going to get hit. Mike, you better watch out. And I'm like, there's no way that the nicest car on the block's going to get hit. Because everyone's going to see it. Oh, no, last day of school, got smoked. So it was a long process, but that got repaired. And then my whole Subaru dream, my vibe just fell apart. So then I sold everything off for cheap. And then I said, I think it's now time to get into a V8. So what V8 out there is going to hurt some feelings? That's not going to break the bank, because obviously I could have gotten any car, really. I looked at Corvettes, Camaros, Mustangs, and then CTSV popped into play. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's this? And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about a CTSV, V8 supercharged, this and that. And the price was fairly cheap at the time. So I think it was $40,000, and then
that's pretty good.
Yeah, for $40,000 for a manual coupe, black diamond, kind of like Brian's CTSV. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I guess I had the holy grail CTSV being black diamond with Carl seats, coupe manual, the moonroof, everything. So I said, either this is a screaming deal, or I'm gonna burn and crash with this, because there's no way that this car is at the dealer for $40,000.
Right. Oh, was that a dealer too?
Yeah, I was at a dealer. Okay. So I only had 11,000 miles on there.
Right.
And I figured, all right, manual, can't get any better. That's when I loved manuals. I always drove manuals. But I picked it up, had a blast with the V8, and I said, this is great. And then it came time where I wanted to set my priorities straight now. Right. So you always hear about people building crazy cars, right? They have GTRs, Lambos, but then when they want to go buy a house, they have to get rid of their sports car to go buy a house, right? So that's kind of like where I fell into place. Like, dang, how can I buy a house and still keep my car? Well, unfortunately, any sort of amount of loans out against you, the housing market just hates you. They don't want to finance you, don't want to give you a loan for anything. So even with my $40,000 car, I think I only owed $25,000 on it. They deducted $120,000 off my pre-qualification for my mortgage. So I said, well, how is that possible? It's only $25,000 in my loan for this car. Right? Why are you knocking off $125K off my pre-qualification? That's just how it works.
That's so dumb, dude.
So
I haven't had any issues like that.
So they're like, well, your credit's great, 800 credit.
Yeah, that's great.
And then, but we're not gonna give you your full amount because you have this little loan out. So then I just said, okay. Sold it. I sold it to Carvana actually.
Yeah, I saw it. I was going to ask you about Carvana. Yeah, because I thought I saw it sell to Car. That's actually where I started paying attention to Carvana, because you sold a modified Cadillac.
Yeah,
And I was
pretty
like, what
much
the
it
hell?
was a little modified. The diff was leaking really bad, and I just said it's time to get rid of it. I got to get rid of it somehow. I don't want to do it locally because everyone knows that the CTSV has been raced, I guess.
Right.
And that's kind of where like my channel blew up. It's because I had a CTSV. Everyone forgot about a CTSV.
Yeah, true.
And then I came out with it, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, it's a CTSV with an Asian kid in it." That's kind of weird. I thought that was pretty funny. You see roll down the window, like, boop, Asian kid in the CTSV. Like, what the heck? And I just had a lot of fun with it, and then started the process on the house, and then the Mustang came into light, I guess, and I just said, well, I want to try out the 10-speed hype, the 5.0 hype,
Right.
because everyone in Texas has one. Like, it's just everywhere. Now, what's with the Mustang, and why isn't anyone up here running it? If it's like one of the best bang per horsepower car, why is no one running it up here? Mm-hmm. So I just picked one up, and then while I was building the house, and they really told me not to do that because you're still building the house, you haven't closed on the house.
Oh, okay.
You can't make any big purchases. But I said, it's car season, I gotta have something. So I don't know. I just picked up the Mustang and modded it. I did headers in E85 right away, and I was blowing cars out of the water that I should not be killing.
That's a good transmission too in that one.
Yeah. So after testing out the 10-speed hype, I was like, the hype is pretty real, I would say, and it just works magic. I don't know why it makes you easily compete against like 150 more horsepower cars. And when people talk about horsepower and torque, obviously it's skewed a lot of ways, but transmission does a lot too for a car. That's what people don't understand.
They forget that.
Yeah, people totally forget about transmission too. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and then I guess the next step was to get some boost. So after a whole year of being NA with just headers E85, I guess that the next step is getting some boost. And unfortunately, I didn't get to install boost on the black Mustang because some Mustang content happened. But I don't know, that was short-lived. And then picked up an orange one during COVID, and prices were high, but we were lucky enough to find one locally that wanted to work with us, so we picked it up and just kind of had all the bangs and options in it, kind of like my black one too. So really good one. It's a premium Mustang, heated leather seats. It's not your tin can Mustang, It's
Heated
got
seats for the winners.
Yeah, cooled seats. I love the cooled seats. Like everyone that rode my car for Power Cruise, they turn on the ventilated cooled seats. They're like, "Yo, this is nice." All right, so. Once you sit in a car like that, it's hard to go back.
I miss it sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard to go back. So, fully loaded Mustang now, boosted, and I think I really put the car on the map at Power Cruise, and everyone was shocked that they'd never seen an orange Mustang. And then once again, like, it's an Asian kid in there.
Yeah. Didn't you have like a hat or whatever too in one of the videos?
Yeah, I had a ratified fishing hat.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess people call them a fishing hat because they're like
The bucket hat?
Yeah. So I had a couple people say like it's a fishing hat and it says ratified.
Yeah.
So it
I
just
saw
looked
that
even
comment.
funnier.
It had me dying.
So I had was really nice at Power Cruise. We blocked all the shade or the sun out, I should say, and it's really good. And yeah, now I'm looking forward to the next step in the Mustang. Once I stepped away from all the street stuff, I started getting like mini sponsorships.
Okay.
So I think that was a huge change in my life, because obviously a lot of guys want to do street stuff, right? I think people say it's cool, this and that, and it gets you in a lot of trouble. And I will say I got into some trouble.
Quite a bit from my understanding.
So we got in trouble, but hey, that's all learning lessons, and it's bound to happen. And so now, trying to push more track stuff. So I had a little bit of track experience under me now, and a lot of companies have been reaching out and try out new stuff on the Mustang, which is awesome. So I think that just because you have an ordinary car doesn't mean that companies won't reach out to you. You know, it's just there's millions of Mustangs out there. Millions.
Yeah,
of
commuter
boosted
car. I like
Mustangs.
it.
Yeah, there's millions of them out there. Like, and then them reaching out to me to run some parts, like that's pretty cool too. You know, and goes a long ways.
Yeah, well, there's just a larger market for Mustangs. So, you know, you throw on some of their parts and you have, you know, a viewership that drives Mustangs and they watch your content, they're going to go buy those parts.
Oh, yeah.
Versus
sure.
like if you had like a Ferrari and, you know, you put on a $10,000 titanium exhaust, like nobody, like there's not a lot of Ferrari owners that want to do that. And the ones that do want to do that, they already did it, you know.
Yep.
They're not on YouTube, you know, watching like how many fucking Ferrari owners do you see doing DIYs, right? Like if you sponsor somebody with a Ferrari, it limits the audience and the potential sales, right? But if somebody's sponsoring you, whatever, and you're only just starting, by the way, like if you think about it, right? Like in the next year, like that could be even bigger and bigger deals. Like you got a hell of a following. I mean, you're no slouch on TikTok. I saw you have 69.
Yeah, I'm at 69,000 TikTok.
Right. You know, your YouTube's not too shabby. You get, but the ultimate thing that people care about when choosing a sponsorship is views, and
Yep.
you got that in spades. You know.
Yep.
So.
And it goes a long ways. I just started Instagram during the winter, so since November,
It's huge.
I've grown from 2,000 to 29,000 in just a couple months here, and Instagram is another very slept-on platform. Also, I think.
Yeah.
And it's grown big, and that's where all my sponsorships actually have reached out to me. It was on Instagram, actually.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it wasn't through TikTok. It wasn't through Facebook or YouTube.
Instagram.
It was through Instagram.
Well, they have a good DM too. Like on TikTok, like it's not the best DMing platform.
No.
But on Instagram, it's like, oh, somebody wants to talk to you. Oh, it's fucking Weld or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's definitely been huge, and I don't know. It's just TikTok. They just hate some. They just hate some content, you know. Like,
It's a pain in my ass too.
yeah. So if you post anything car related, you're getting flagged, man. It's just everything's dangerous. What do they say, like a dangerous acts? Or
well, at
whatever.
least they flag it now. When I started posting car content, and this is like when I stopped doing TikTok, is everything just got taken down, like a GTR drifting into snow. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, like people want to see that. Let them see it. It's a parking lot. You
Yep.
know? And it just got taken down. So at least flagged is better, but.
Yeah, so I actually ran through a lot of that, and people know me for the Forza Mustang, or I would always write Forza 5 gameplay. So now every video out there that says Forza 5 gameplay or whatever, that was because of me, and I think that's pretty hilarious. That people are still using those all over the video so they don't get taken down, and I just stopped doing that stuff now. It's just if the TikTok doesn't want to push the video, then they don't push the video. You know, some videos get 500,000, some videos do 500. It's just whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah, I've been telling people, like, a lot of people are like, what are you gonna do? What's gonna happen when they ban TikTok? I'm like, I fucking hope they do, because then all those people are not gonna have anywhere to watch content except for reels and shorts. I'm like, perfect, ban it. It helps me.
Yeah.
Like, I got 22K on there, but I, like you said, I get jack shit in views. Sometimes one will pop off, but like for a while, like my Instagram doubled from 6,000 to 13,000 in January, and I had like that Bugs Bunny video that you might have seen or whatever. Like that one did like 3.5 million views.
Yeah.
And then I followed that with the E-Ray Corvette one, and that did like another million. Just my shit blew up. So it's wild.
Yeah, so that's another reason why I kind of wanted to just push Instagram. So I tried that out. A couple videos went by, and then all of a sudden people are like, yo, where have you been? We need this kind of content. Like, oh, I've been on TikTok. Like, no, you gotta come over here and do it. This is where the adults are, you know. So and then it just started with the whole Instagram thing, and then just kind of blew off, and then the sponsorships came, and I'm actually running an ESS supercharger for this coming season.
Yeah, so tell us about your sponsorships, like in depth, I guess.
So I was just clowning around about wanting to switch up on the setup, and I started posting up my airport racing videos. So I'm kind of like behind all my videos. If people watch my videos, they're like, oh my God, this guy's posting a Power Cruise video. The next Power Cruise event's already going to happen. He's still posting up these, you know?
Right, yep.
So I'm kind of behind on videos, but I changed my numbers from 750 wheel. Well, actually, kind of back up here. I was 750 wheel for 99% of the whole year. It's just base tune, get me to the track because it was like a rush build. to get me to proving grounds. But then I ran into some catastrophic failures at proving grounds. So we just kind of always been running that tune since. And then I just never went back for a retune. So I just been racing on the 750 wheel, because going from stock 400 horsepower to 750 wheel, you know, it's a big change. It's a very scary change for an inexperienced driver. I would say for any driver, really.
It's a big jump, yeah.
To go full throttle from 400 to 750 wheel.
On a Mustang as well.
Yes. The Mustang things do happen. So it's a big jump for anyone, and getting the experience. And where are you going to get this experience? You know, like obviously the streets is dangerous and stuff. And so I really had to go to a place where I could just kind of be by myself and try out what 750 wheels always like. So that's where all the track stuff came into play. And I really encourage going out to power cruise. You know, you can really get used to your car out there. You know, just keep going lap after lap after lap.
Okay.
So that's where I gained a lot of experience out there. And even the airport stuff, people hate the airport, whatever. And I just saw it as an opportunity to try out my car without cops hassling me. So that's why I'm there.
Okay. So is there people that just aren't a fan of the airport? I'm guessing.
Yeah, because it's far. People, I don't know why people say it's far. People go up to Power Cruise, whatever. The airport was only 30 minutes from Stillwater, so
that's not bad at all. Well, and so if it's a distance thing, like this is a safe place to take your car.
Yeah, that's what I saw about. I was like, and I'm gonna record my races, whatever. So it kind of worked out in my favor. Some people support it, some people don't. It's $100 to run it. Yeah, I just said, it is what it is. It's better than a ticket. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, no, people are dorks about some stuff like that.
So that's why I only went there. And for 2023, there's new airport regulations that I like to touch up on. And Siren Nationals is down because of new airport regulations. So just because the airport that I was racing at is down doesn't mean that airport I was at was doing bad things, you know. Okay. All the airports are actually getting shut down that do any sort of automobile racing.
Oh, really?
They're restricting it to airplanes only because there's new federal regulations and funding. So pretty much all ice racing stuff is going down.
So we won't be seeing like many half-mile events or like airport events this year then, huh?
Probably not if it's federally funded.
Wow, that's
so you
weird.
really have to find.
Yeah, one of the biggest like half-mile events is at an airport. The one in Colorado that 1320 usually covers is at an airport, and that's where they get like the close to 200 or 300 mile per hour runs of.
Jeez. Well, I'm sure there's some that'll probably have some exemptions. Probably.
I'm hoping so because.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless it was a private airport
that's the only thing that we can really look at is private airports that have no ties to the government.
Okay.
But what airport doesn't have ties to the government?
You have to, right? Because FAA and all that stuff.
So it's going to be interesting this year. I'd be really interested to see what happens. And
I think we could figure it out. Listen, I have a friend that works for Delta. Okay. Let's do a little side-by-side action with a 747. We'll figure, it's good advertising for the airline. I don't know, man.
I just saw it as, hey, it's revenue for the city. Yeah. Airport's getting paid. We're staying off the streets. Cops don't have to worry about us.
It's a win-win in my opinion.
I think it's a win-win. If you can get rid of all your itch during the day, there's no need to go out at night. And cops can focus on other things that happen at night rather than chasing down a bunch of clowns and that are driving speed limit around the 494 loop.
Yeah, yeah, that's 100% true. Because I feel like a lot of times, like you get that itch around springtime. The weather starts getting warmer. The roads are dry, and you can take your car out, and you can finally go fast, and you got that itch. And the best way to cure that is by going to the track and not. Going around on the highway, cruising at, Mach 1.
Right.
Well, it's like that one meme, right? Like, it's like, oh my God, we got all these street racers. Where are they going to go? Okay, they build a track. Oh my God, that track is so loud. Close down the track. Street racers are back on the street. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's never ending. And I think we could definitely do better with this whole situation.
Yeah, there's still like local tracks to us. Again, like I think the one in Wisconsin, the Fly High event, you said that's like 30 minutes from Stillwater. There's also Rock Falls is kind of that way too. They have a quarter mile. Grove Creek, I think, is probably the closest. They have an 1/8 mile, and then Brainerd, quarter mile, and they also have a track, so you can actually do like turns and stuff.
Right. But I don't know. I think a lot of people just don't want to travel that far. I don't know. I think people are wishing for something that's in St. Paul or something crazy.
Or something within an hour.
No, I totally agree. I definitely agree that we need something here in the South Metro because everything's either north, in a different state, or out in the sticks. So it's like if we had something in the South like metro area, that would probably be like one of the most popular tracks. But because South Metro area is becoming like so suburbanized, you know, there's no room for a track unless you keep going like further south. And again, we're running into that issue where it's too far for some people.
Listen, man, I want my fucking Whole Foods. Okay, I don't want you putting a track over here. But no, I agree. Like, it would be nice if it was closer. But I think, especially if you're like a real car enthusiast, like, you know, kind of like you're happy to drive that 2 hours. You are as well. Like, you know, it's like, all right, cool. We'll leave on Friday, chill the whole weekend. You know, there's only, I don't think Brainerd's too short of people willing to go up there. You know, just drive that hour. Was it hour and a half from here? 2 hours, something like that.
Yeah, well, with how you drive, yeah.
Well, shit, that's for sure.
Shakopee, I mean, that's like a 3.5 hour drive, isn't it?
I don't know. I feel like it's too. Well, even then, it's still like it's pretty reasonable. Like, you know, there's people in other states that probably have to drive even further.
They're at Power Cruise. There's South Dakota, Iowa that come up.
Australia,
yeah, those guys too. And so, I don't think that's an issue. I'm glad that they're doing 2 events this year, which is huge.
Yeah,
see how
2
well
Power
that
Cruises,
does.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen pricing on it though, so we'll see. I guess, but.
well, I think the big issue for like a lot of people is like actually finding that time because you know you got to leave early in the morning to make it to the event because a lot of these events start like around 9 a.m. so you got to get up pretty early. But you know, just like with any car show too, like you got to get up early to get to caffeine and octane and get your spot.
As a single male, I refuse to see the issue.
I know. See, you're single. I'm married with a baby, so it's like, you know, I gotta talk this out in advance. I gotta figure these things out, make sure that nothing gets in the way of each other, so I can actually get the day off. Essentially,
one of my favorite quotes from Andrew Tate's like, "Hi, boss, can I take the day off?" Like it's like. Okay, dude.
I've been a good boy. I promise.
Hey, boss, can I get the day off, please? Like, but at the same time, like, I get it. Like, you know, you have to take the time off. You have to drive. You know, these gas prices are fucking serious too, man.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. You know, my Mustang's running both fuel pumps at the same time, so I get about 7 miles to the gallon in that thing.
Holy
if
shit.
I'm easy on the throttle or not, you know, I'm getting 7. And then I carry 2 5-gallon jugs in the back. You know, got my wife and baby in there too. So it's a full day. Every time I take it out to go to like Cafe Knocking, the Supercar Saturday, whatever, it's $60.
Right.
Because I gotta fill up, drive it there, and then while I'm there, I gotta fill up with my spare jugs because it's on E85. You know, so. Yep. It's quite the day to bring out the car, and people don't understand that either. It's just,
so are you E85 or Flex?
It's just E85.
Just E85,
yeah.
Okay.
They didn't want to do a Flex fuel because they didn't trust me that I wasn't going to fill up 93 and go wide open throttle right after I fill up 93, which I don't think I'd ever fill up 93 in that car, honestly.
True, yeah.
But they just didn't want to take that chance. So I was like, whatever. My CTSV was Flex fuel. I had no issues with that. Running all year, winter long too. So I actually raced CTSV in the winter. So
really,
pretty scary. If people remember those days, I mean, it was like 0 degrees, and my CTSV was getting down with some of those Evos and Subis. They're like, "Yo, this guy's on another level. Holy crap!" And I definitely wouldn't do that with the Mustang now. So kind of leads me to my next point. We're doing some suspension stuff in the Mustang too. Didn't get sponsored on that. I just figured it's probably best I do it anyways. Just keep the Mustang straight, and people don't understand that with the Mustangs, they got doo-doo suspension in the rear, so to take care of that, it's just about $1,000 in parts, and
it's not too horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy, it's just some minor bushing changes and stuff, so nothing too crazy. So yeah, there's a full BMR kit. I think it's called the Eggs and Bacon kit. I forget what it's called, but they sell
Eggs
the whole
and Bacon?
Yeah, I think they call it Eggs and Bacon or something. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's basic parts, suspension parts, and for $1,000, hey, you might as well do that.
So what exactly does it do then? Explain it to idiots like me.
So it basically it has an independent rear suspension, which is junk. The bushings are junk, and it just stiffens up the whole suspension and just locks it in place, because that's where Mustangs crash a lot. So when you load up, you do a burnout. Let's just say one wheel catches, the other one's still spinning. And it just sends it going into a corner, really.
Yeah, kind of eliminating wheel hop.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like you know what that is.
Yeah. Oh, I know that all too well.
Okay.
So it eliminates all that. So that's what makes the Mustangs crash, really.
Yeah, well, it's also gotten better from the previous generation to this generation. Because then, what was the problem with the S197? I think
I'm not too familiar with that.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but they had something fucking wonky with their suspension that just made them death traps. But I didn't even realize, because I don't see as many of these crash as the last gen, at least on my feed. But
There's still a fair amount. I just think it comes down to driving and if you're
And skill.
properly set up. Skill is definitely huge. And stock suspension, definitely scary. I raced it doing digs at the airport. Definitely scary.
okay,
We did digs, rolls. I mean, even at 40 roll, still scary. I mean, you don't know where that Mustang's going to go. And
okay,
I actually raced with traction control on.
okay, good.
So if you turn it off, the Mustang does get scary. And a lot of people just say you don't have balls. Like, well, I'd rather lose than, not go home with the car,
Right.
And for my draggy testings, running with traction control on, I yielded way better times than traction control off.
Yeah, traction control's gotten so smart too in the last decade.
I just said, what's the point of me turning it off if I'm gaining better times
Yep.
with traction control on? They just sat there and looked at me like, you're a pussy anyways. And I was like, whoa, I'm winning though.
Yeah, you do actually win a lot of the races in your videos too.
Yeah.
Because you said you did like 150 runs at Power Cruise.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. You basically raced everybody there.
Yeah, I pretty much raced pretty much everyone there. But as I said, by the second day, no one wanted to race anymore or line up. I actually, before you exited, when you exit at Power Cruise, I actually waited right there because they had a little lot right there. So I would just wait and scope out people because no one wanted to line up anymore. And I would just cut and budge in if I wanted to race the Corvette. Because, at some point in time, okay, you got a Corvette. Why are you racing 1.8 GTIs? Your Jettas,
Right.
whatever.
Stuff that you're gonna smack.
Yeah, there's a couple Saturns out there that were just NA. I was like, okay, well, why is a Corvette racing that? Yeah, it's probably cool and fun. Maybe he just wants to race them or vice versa, right? But how about you race something a little more
Interesting.
interesting?
Yeah, pick on a guy your own size.
Yeah, that's what it was. So why don't you do something like that? And then people roasted me for racing the TRX. Like, well, I want to just race one for video content. And the guy was cool with it.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Like, you got to poke the bear to
Right.
get some reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love your titles sometimes too. Like my favorite one was angry CTSV owner
Yes.
blast by.
So that's another one too. So when I'm doing my content, obviously a CTSV versus Mustang, right? That's not very interesting. And if you watch my first video, I beat the CTSV pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then the second run, obviously he just powered out of that corner and just full
Little
sent
80
it.
roll, yeah.
Yeah, a little 80, 100 roll past me. And it's like, well, obviously he's gonna win. You're not gonna catch that. And people
Right.
that don't race don't understand that either. Like if
Chase is a
someone's
race.
yeah, if someone has 80 or 100 roll starting,
Yeah.
and you're only doing 40, they're gonna blast you out of the water. You would have to make a substantial amount of horsepower to even catch that. And so obviously I changed the title where angry CTSV.
Yeah.
So it definitely got a lot of views. I think one of my pages, I think on TikTok or Instagram, I think that video took off 300,000 views just
Jeez.
because I changed it from CTSV to angry CTSV.
Yeah.
No one wants to watch a CTSV, but
You put angry in front of
angry.
it.
Oh boy,
Yeah,
versus a
that
Mustang.
adds a
oh,
whole
man.
other layer to the story.
Yeah.
It's like, man, why is he angry? What did he do?
So I always tell people, you gotta watch race one, man. You'll find out why I said angry. And the guy is pretty cool. I talked to him too. A lot of these videos, people will come and message me I wasn't angry. What? What? They're like, no. You just gotta get my humor here. I wouldn't say just offer clickbait, but you gotta make these titles interesting.
I
get
think it's
views.
different in clickbait though. Especially, and again, I haven't talked to you in 4 years. I talked to you when you had the Subaru way back when at the 94 meet, but even following you for some time, it's, I don't know, humor's kind of obvious. It's kind of you're not really being clickbaity, but you kind of are. But it's more to just fuck around. Oh yeah, look at him, he's so angry. Just something like that. So I don't know. It's enjoyable to me.
Well, see, you've been following him. I haven't been following him
Yeah, you
at
just think
all.
he's a
You
dick,
just
yeah.
told me about him a week ago. So I look at his content. I'm like, damn, this guy's really just pushing the limits on like clickbaiting. I mean, like, it's somewhat true, somewhat not, but it is like definitely like it's invoking an emotion in me.
Yeah.
That's like, what the heck? This guy is cocky as hell.
A lot of people do say that too, and
But you're just having a fun time.
I'm having a great time, and a lot of people that have been around me, you know, we obviously there's a difference between like guys being cocky and never racing,
True.
and then guys that are cocky that go out and actually use their car
Yeah.
and make a point. And it started with the whole Stage 2 Subaru thing that I'm going to beat all these V8s, boosted V8s, my Subaru. Come to find out, man, that ain't happening for me. So then I went and got myself a V8, and I went to go poke all the Stage 2 Subaru guys and said, hey.
They got so
That's kind of like where it all started. Like, oh, you think your Stage 2 is going to win, huh? Like, oh, yeah, all day. And
That's right.
I literally went out and made it my mission to race all these Subaru guys. And that's where I guess a lot of people know me from, is racing all these Stage 2 Subarus. And till this day, I think I've silenced them. And, you know,
Yeah, you don't post about it as much.
yeah, I don't post about it as much because like there's no Subarus left to race. Because when a lot of people just watch YouTube videos, right? And it's like, oh my god, well that car went out and beat that car. I could do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where like 90% of like the car community's at, is just what videos are showing what without you actually doing it, if that makes sense. Because like I went out and tried it, and it definitely didn't happen. I'm like, damn, those V8s are kind of fast.
Yeah, definitely 100%, because you're in a modified Mustang, you know, and I feel like a lot of people look up like, oh, like how do these two like stock vehicles compare? But you know, you're making 750 to 1,000 horsepower. You know, you go show up next to a Subaru, they're maxed out probably at what, 400?
Probably like 350.
Like
Yeah.
you cross a threshold where like they can't touch you anymore, and
Yeah.
they're always going to be in your rearview mirror.
Well, the ceiling's always there, right? So that's kind of why, like, you know, for me, like with my cute little Golf, you know, I'm always thinking like, okay, well, if I go 85, cool, I'll go up to like whatever 420, 450 horsepower, cool. And then if I get a hybrid turbo, you know, some of these guys are, you know, 550 to the wheels, which is fast for a light ass car. But that's kind of where it ends, right? Like you can't really modify it anymore. Then you start looking at the Supra. It's like 6, 7, 800 wheel, depending on what you do with your build. But then you have to start looking upstream. V8s. That's, you know, if you look at a GT500, just a few simple mods, you're looking at 1,000. Not simple, but
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but kind of like you said, like every platform has some sort of limit.
yep.
And definitely how much money you want to put into it, you know, it's definitely
Right.
another thing too. Obviously, you could take a Civic, you can make it pretty stupid too.
Yeah.
But I think for 99% of the general population, we're never going to hit 6s or 7s in a Civic. No, we're not even going to put that much money. Guys would be lucky to hit 11s in a Civic, you know, locally, you know, as a general enthusiast. So that's another thing too that people don't understand, is what the general population is capable of versus what YouTube and shops are putting out there. Because everyone believes what they see on social media.
Right.
If that shop can do it, like that's a full blown shop.
1,000's easy to hit.
Yeah, that's a shop building a car for, you know, their own purposes versus you and your own money. You
Yeah.
know, what are you gonna build?
Yeah, shops have infinitely more free time because that's their job, and it's just, you know, oh, let's drop like another 10 hours this weekend into the Honda Civic and make it a, you know, half a second faster for the track next week. And
They know their own problems too,
and then
though.
at the end of the like project, they're like, yeah, we put about 5,000 hours into this build.
Yep.
And like for a garage mechanic, that's gonna take them years to get that same kind of work done,
That's true. And that's
and not with the same quality.
yeah. And the biggest thing is like when you take your car to the shop to go get modified, right? Like they're working on 7, 8 other cars, but if they have their own shop car, like they know exactly what's on their to-do list. They have their own checklist. Whereas you as a customer, they have no fucking clue what you're gonna want most of the time. So I think that's the other aspect to it.
Yeah, like for me, picking out a Mustang, I wanted a platform that was well known. I would say parts are accessible,
It's a Lego set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has good aftermarket support.
good aftermarket support. General population kind of knows what they are. Shops know what they are. Kind of like LS, you know, you can't go wrong with
Yep.
picking an LS. And these newer Mustang Coyotes, you know, they're just starting to crack the surface here in Minnesota. But, you know, parts are everywhere too. The tuning, the knowledge is everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong with them.
You're our first Ford guest too, I think.
nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of funny. So when I picked it, I was like, I want a shop that kind of knows what they're doing. And then I picked Moe's because they were just who could fit me in. I used to take my black one to Bowen Bill. He did my black one. Had a lot of success out of just had his E85 and a custom tune from a local guy. A lot of success. Everyone's asking, what kind of tuner did you use? Did you use Lund, Palm Beach, all these big names?
Right.
I was like, no, I just used a local guy that tuned my car. I was like, well, how are you beating these big tuners with a local guy? That shouldn't happen. I was like, well, using a big name doesn't really work out to you advantages, I should say. They're going to give you off-the-shelf tune unless you know them really close. They're not going to give you all the sauce because they're obviously a top-notch big shop. Giving a Joe Schmo, they're not going to give you all the sauce. And so that worked out great for me for my black one. But then when I went to Boost, I went to Moe's. And then Dave actually races his Mustang. Dave does all sorts of stuff. So it kind of worked out great.
Yeah, we want to have him on at some point too.
He knows his Mustangs. You know, he races Mustangs. He understands what Mustangs are. And he understands what Mustangs do.
Right, yep.
So it worked out great, you know, having me bring it to him. He taught me a lot about the Mustang platform. And so it just worked out great. And then tuning-wise, you know, we went the, I'm going to butcher his name, Majed. I think in English, we just say Majed, or I forget how they pronounce it in Saudi Arabia, but they're from Saudi. And so I got the Saudi tune on the Mustang. Okay. I'm not tuned by locals. I'm not tuned by Palm Beach or Lund. So that's another thing too, is just picking your tuner, getting to know your tuner. I think will go a long ways rather than you just picking a tuner and just going with the flow. I think knowing your tuner on a kind of like our level, talking face to face, getting to know each other is way better, way more efficient than I'm just gonna click order and here's the map, and then you never hear from them again. They don't hear about your problems. You want all your answers answered, and they won't ever message you, which I think was great about my tuner. You can hit him up on Facebook, whatever. He'll just message you right back. So that worked out great. And kind of off topic, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Well, I think that's actually a really great point. Is getting to know your tuner, and they're basically the doctor for your car. And like, you don't want like the off the shelf doctor, you know, he's just, you know, filling out prescriptions like crazy for everybody else. You want somebody that's looking out for your best interests. So
that makes sense.
It's really important to have somebody who is readily available. You can talk to them, you know, you can like back and forth with them, and they'll really set you up with a nice tune customized for your car. Because, you know, even though like you might have the same mods as another Mustang, it might perform differently, you know, because you're in a totally different state, and you have different weather and all these variables. So it's a case by case, you know, per car. So yeah, getting a nice tuner that's either like local to you or someone who does like email tunes. So Harris, do you have a tuner, or do you just have an off the shelf?
Kind of like an off-the-shelf United Motorsport. I mean, it's a fucking Volkswagen at the end of the day. Like, you know, I'm not, if I was going for power and all that, and some people are saying like, oh, you should go, you know, get your own custom tune and all that. I don't care. Like, the next car is going to come at some point. Like, this thing is probably going to be a daily after I cross 100,000 miles, which is coming up fast.
Yeah, those Volkswagens are pretty reliable.
Something like, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I think anybody who's worked on cars knows, and this is what I've heard. I'm not saying this from experience, that all cars have their own like mountain of problems. All cars are equally shit. So, but yeah, no, my cute little Volkswagen just, it's chill, you know, like 380 to the wheels.
You're not making like gobs of power, so it's not like it's gonna break.
Yeah, no, off the shelf works perfectly. Whereas when you start talking about, you know, 850 to the wheels or 1,000 to the crank, the first thing I thought when you said it's 1,000 on your YouTube video, I was like, man, this guy fucking measures behind the balls, like. That just had me dying. But no, here's the thing. I also noticed this too. You do post your losers too, like the races that you actually lose.
I post all my races. I don't hide my videos unless it's like a buddy that just wants to stay low key, or, you know, other things. But like, I post them all, and it's just, I'm so behind on videos that so behind on videos that people are like, oh, he never posts them. Well, because like, you know, let's just say you go on a Power Cruise, right? I mean, Power Cruise was almost a year ago, honestly, and I'm just starting to get to it. So like, this man's never posting up his videos. I'm just getting to them.
Like, bro, I got a job.
Got a job, got a wife, kid. You know, like there's a lot of things in life, and I do this for fun. I don't do this for money. I think a lot of people get that mixed up. Is you don't really make much money doing this stuff. If you go into it to think that you're gonna make millions of dollars, that's the wrong mindset, and you're just gonna get burnt out and be upset and quit.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
And I tell everyone that wants to get into YouTube, like when I carry my big camera around, I'm clowning around, having fun, and people are like, "Oh my God, this guy's got a big, expensive camera, big gimbal. He must be a millionaire," you know. I'm like, no, we're all just broke over here.
We're all just having fun filming our shit. Yeah,
having fun. You know, I'm at the event. I might as well record and throw it on YouTube. You know, hey, why not? And if I get something out of it, I get something out of it. You know, and I'm not looking to make millions. If it happens, that's great. You know, but that's definitely not on my mindset. I'm just going out there having fun.
Yeah. Well, now you kind of see that too with the sponsors as well. You might potentially get a taste of that at some point. Mm-hmm. But again, like that's actually why I started Monoxide, by the way. So this is April 28th. We're talking 2018. I'm coming up on my 5th anniversary, right? And I was like, I'm going to these fucking car shows anyway. So I was like, I'll take some pictures on my phone because I was talking to this one guy or saw this one guy. He had like 80,000 or 100,000, followers on Instagram. And he was basically getting free tickets to like Dodge shows. It was a Mopar page, right? Mm-hmm. I grew up a Mopar guy. And, I was just like, well, shit, I could do the same thing. I could just post all these stupid pictures from shows and grow a page and maybe I'll just get some free shit here and there, like free tickets to the auto show. And then I started, using an actual camera. And then I was like, oh, I'm a photographer now. I used to hate fucking photography in high school, by the way. I was like, because I learned how to use a DSLR sorta in high school, and then I was like, this is stupid. This is so much work. So I use my phone for all the assignments, and I was like, see, who needs a camera? but yeah, long story short, it's like if you get into it with and I told Trey this, I think too. It's like people can tell when you're out for the money, but if you're there to have a good time, like if it shows up, cool. If not, whatever. You got a day job still, Mm-hmm. So, but this is kind of a hobby for us.
Yeah, and I actually went to school for cars too.
Oh, okay.
So that's my background. I worked at Toyota and then worked at Rosenbauer, did custom fire trucks, did a lot of wiring for fire trucks. And I was like, maybe cars is just a hobby and not like a career. So because a lot of guys, younger guys will go and like UTI, whatever those car technical schools. And like, I want to turn wrenches. It's going to be so cool to build race cars all day. Well, for 95% of the population, that ain't never going to happen. You're going to be stuck as an oil changer for 15 years. And then you're not going to make money unless you own your own shop and more specifically, get into a performance aspect of it. If you're turning wrenches at Toyota or, BMW, really, what are they at? Like $25 an hour flat rate nowadays. I mean, you're not making big dollars.
Right.
Not to mention all your tools that you got to have. Mm. So that's kind of like why I switched fields and I said, maybe this is a hobby and I need to find another career to support my hobby rather than being broke turning wrenches and pretending like I'm a car enthusiast. Right. I should say. And so I switched careers and I do construction now. A lot of people don't know that, but I do construction.
Okay. So big money.
Yeah, big money. No. So
dude, it's wild how much is in that industry though. Like I know a guy, like he's got, I think like you could kind of guess it when you look at his physique. Like, yeah, that motherfucker works construction. Like you just see it.
Yeah, it's a different breed. It's definitely tough. If you don't work hard with your mind, you got to work hard with your body. So
yeah, well, construction is like one of those things. Like, it's a different type of strong. Like, listen, I go to the gym, but you will never catch me in construction. That's a different type of tough, man.
No, it's definitely hard. Carrying a pipe. Yeah, carrying a pipe's not bad, but when you start talking about 3 or 4 flights of stairs, you got to carry that thing.
8 hours a day.
It's like 8 hours a day,
or 12. Like you probably do some good bit of overtime. I guess.
Yeah. So they offered me overtime today. I'm like, I probably should do it since car season's coming up, and cars are expensive. People don't understand that. Any car you want to build is going to get expensive.
Right.
Just because I picked the Mustang and the aftermarket support is fairly cheap, and I always brag about it. Like, it only cost me $12,000 to build this Mustang to this level. Like, other platforms can do it better. Other platforms are definitely more expensive. I'm just going to pick on the RS3 guys. For them to achieve 800 to 1,000 wheel, I mean, you're talking fully built. I would say fully built is a good term. Built block, they definitely need clutch packs, fuel system, turbo kit. I mean, that's quite a bit of the mod list when comparing to a Mustang stock block, stock trans. and you know, you just throw on a supercharger that's held on by 8 bolts, you know, and fuel system, and you're ready to go. So there's different platforms out there, depending what you want to go, where your money can reach,
Right, and what needs you want to.
Yeah, it needs, and people don't understand that either. It's just, so for me, picking the Mustang versus like the Euro guys, like people always tell me you gotta try Euro, you gotta try RS3,
Right.
M3, you gotta try like G80 M3. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys know how much a G80 M3 is?
Yeah, they're like about 100 or 80K right now or something
80K,
like that. Yeah, I love that platform.
It's
though.
like,
yeah.
geez, I mean, yeah, my wallet was that big, I guess, but what people call the Mustang the broke man sports car.
I mean, that's why it was created though. Like it
Yeah.
was made to be the car. There's a reason it's the most sold car like ever.
Yeah,
you know.
it's a great platform. Like Camaros too, and they can compete with a lot of different things
Yeah.
out there. So I guess it just really depends where you want to throw your money, and having a good career. Going back to what we were talking about, having a good career to support your hobby. Definitely
Right.
have to have a supportive wife. You know, a lot of single guys don't know that yet, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I've tried telling Harris. Like, you know, he's single and you know, he's ready to mingle. So if you're looking for a big boy, hit up Harris Monoxide.
Jesus Christ. Turning my podcast into a fucking Tinder.
let's go. Yeah.
But no, dude, like that's the thing, man. Like you just gotta kind of know like what works for you, and it's just the budget part is so strong. So that actually happened in my interview. Like the guy's like, so it says here that you're an automotive photographer. Is that going to affect your day job here? I'm like, fuck no, dude. I'm like, dude, ain't no, like people tell me this all the time. Me and my brother talked about this. Like, your pictures are so good. Have you thought about going full time? Fuck no. That shit doesn't pay for medical expenses.
No.
Like, dude, like the best photographers out there maybe crack like high 5 figures. Like it's just, and you know, I like my day job. Like I'm starting, so Texas 2K, I'll be between jobs because coming this Monday, I dropped my 2 weeks notice and I'm going into a different field. But I'll always work sales. That's just for me. Like I have a sparkling personality, I'd like to think. But also it's just, you know, effort in is reward out or whatever. But that's a little just, you know, career sidestep here. But my point being, it's like, yeah, you need a career to support that. And that's the thing. Like people are like, oh, well, you can get a GTR or something, you know, every time, because you see me pull up to shows. Like I've brought 2 GTRs to shows. I've brought fun cars to shows for my clients, but they're like, oh man, Harris finally did it. He leveled up. I'm like, no, I'm still broke as fuck, dude. Like, calm down. But you know, if I wanted, I don't want to be car poor. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I think the Mustang is such a smart build, because you didn't pay a ton for it. The mod platform, and it's just it's solid, and a lot of it you could probably do yourself. Do you do a lot of the work yourself?
Yeah, so speaking of that, I actually sent it to Moe's, and they did everything to the car.
Okay.
But when they took a shit at the track, guess who had to fix it? I took my blower apart probably like 5-6 times now.
Okay. And you're capable of doing everything yourself.
So but it comes back to time and money. You know, I got wife, kids, events coming up. You know, that's their job. They work on cars full time. Then I can focus on my own personal life while they're focusing on my car. But I do have tools, you guys. I do change my own tires at the track. You know,
Right.
When my blower took a shit at Proving Grounds, I called up Dave. I'm like, hey, the belt snapped. Like, well.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're still at the track, or where were they? They were still at the shop. We're still at the shop getting another car ready. We'll be up tonight. If you can't get it fixed, we'll come help you. So I was like, I sat there, I looked at it, opened up the hood. I was like, all right, well, let's start taking it apart. So I took it apart, and gosh, the amount of help that I had at Proving Grounds was crazy. Like, probably 30-some people came over to help me. But no one could really help me get it done. A lot of good insight. A lot of people were willing to like hand me tools. But man, it was complex. Like that blower setup. That's why I'm switching blowers, because like to take that supercharger belt off, and the guys that helped me know how much of a struggle that was at the track. I mean, I had 4 or 5 guys there with me holding my hands, and no one could fit their hands inside that bracket except mine. So I ultimately had to fix my own car right there on the track, and it really put a sour taste to my mouth with that blower. So I was like, God damn, who designed this crap?
And which blower was that?
The Vortec V3.
Okay.
So one of the most sold supercharger setups out there, but how come when it breaks at the track, no one can help me figure it out. Like that idler pulley that holds the belt on inside the bracket is just a pain in the butt. So now, knowing what I know, and we did the belt quick change hack. So it changes up the setup so you're able to actually loop the belt over the pulley rather than you taking the whole pulley and bracket suddenly off. So it's just a whole dumb design. Whoever designed it, I can't believe this is like one of the most sold superchargers out there. Like it's absolutely crazy to change a belt. And so we got all that done. And yeah, so moving on forward, yeah, I definitely did all the other maintenance to the car. I didn't take it back to Moe's, but they did do the pulley change because it's going back for a tune and a bunch of other stuff. So, but moving on to my next setup, since it needs a tune again, and Dave has my fuel system stuff there, I just said I'm just gonna drop it off.
Yeah, you guys take care of it.
You guys take care of it. My event's coming up pretty soon here. Well, the first Power Cruise is coming up, so
what month is that?
May.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so May is coming up, and I just said you guys just take care of it. Half my stuff is already there.
Right.
From last year. So I don't know, I just let them take care of it, and they'll dyno it there too, because like you get everything done in your garage. Well, you still got to drive it down and get tuned, and now you're talking about trailering it. Got to have a truck capable, all that sort of stuff. And it's winter. I just don't want to deal with that stuff. And for this year, I wanted to get a truck and a trailer. Well, I have a truck. It's just a 1500, but it can't tow enclosed trailer with a car in there. It could, but it'd be kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
Definitely, because it's only a 1500. So that's like a whole nother expense people got to worry about too, is can you tow your car to track places, or are you going to drive your car to the track, and what if it breaks down? That's my whole thought, is at this level you don't know what's going to happen. You know, it'd be running fine this week, but next week takes a crap at the track or whatever. Then what? Now you're paying for a boatload of expenses trying to get it down to your house, or maybe your buddy's got a trailer. You know, it's just a whole world of problems at this level people don't understand. And a lot of new guys coming into it like, just make 1,000, drive it to the track and come home. Like, no.
There's very, very few cars that could pull that off. And then there's the reliability aspect too. It's like you could probably do it 5, 6, 7, 8 times, but eventually something's gonna come up. At that level.
Exactly what it is. Like something's gonna come up, and I carry 3 belts in my trunk. I got all the tools in my trunk, you know, and it's a crazy setup. I mean, fairly been reliable for the most part. I've driven it everywhere and raced and drove home, thank goodness. But for this year, I definitely got to start thinking about the next level, because you don't want to be stranded with a wife and a baby.
Right. Well, I told Sean, like, man, if anything happens to that Durango down there in Texas, I'm putting my fucking credit card on that Delta ticket and I'm flying back. Like, you're on your own. Like, you know, but the nice thing is that we're competent enough to figure it out. By we, I mean you. So
yeah, well, I got AAA, so I'll just have it towed, you know, like 30 miles, have them leave it on the side of the road, call AAA again, tell them, you know, you gotta get it towed. And we'll keep doing that until I get home.
Yeah, no, that was wild. Like, so we actually did a Tail to Dragon run. What was it, a year and a half ago now, I think?
Yeah.
And your 1M was having some issues with the clutch.
Yeah, it was slipping.
Yeah, it was slipping, and then eventually, like, we were in the middle of buttfuck Indiana, and
Illinois.
It was like Southern Illinois. I keep forgetting, but yeah. So middle of Illinois, and we eventually stopped in like a small city. We parked it in a hospital because like this thing was undrivable. Like we were gonna keep going further and further.
Yeah, we had to have everybody ahead of us pause. Everyone waited for us. Yeah, it was super nice of them. I felt like they were just gonna leave us behind because they were like, you know, they didn't even know me. This was like their first time meeting me, I feel like, and this is like their first interaction. Like, okay, he brought a broken car and now we gotta wait for him, and like I'm doing like the speed limit the way there. They were like doing, you know, probably like 20 over.
We did barely any pulls on this thing, but yeah. So we left it there, and what was it, like 6 hours from here, I think, or whatever. So you and your dad like went back down to pick it up, I think. Yeah. So because like they didn't know whose car it was at the hospital, because like that was the other thing. Like we didn't want to get towed.
Yeah, we were trying to think of like we called some like dealerships. We were like, hey, can we leave our car here? And they're like, no, absolutely not. And then I don't know whose idea it was to park at a hospital, but
I think it might have been Jeff's.
That was probably like the best idea, just because it is, you know, like nobody's gonna tow a car out of a, you know, parking lot of a hospital. Like that could be a sick patient in there. and he comes back out. He's like, "Where's my car?"
Bro, just imagine some guy comes out of a coma after like 6 months, and he has no family to pick him up, sad life, and he walks out there, gets his car keys, beep beep. What the fuck? Where the fuck's my car?
Yeah, I could have sworn I left it right here.
Assuming he remembers anything from 6 months in a coma.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I doubt he'll be driving after 6 months of not walking or using his legs.
Bro, imagine this is like 2011 or 12, and they're like, well, you can get Uber back home. He's like, what the fuck is Uber? Like, yeah, that was a nice little detour down memory lane. But, well, that's really cool. So the fact that you work on your own car, that's awesome. But again, like you're kind of like in that unique position where you can afford to have somebody else work on it, and it makes sense because your time is valuable, especially with a young kid, 1 year old. It's like, well, I can only do so much. And Sean, I think you do similar stuff. Like you do as much as you can with your cars, but
yeah, like I can do emergency repairs,
right?
But I want that shop reliability when it comes to like the actual build. They can get everything done the right way versus me. I'm gonna do it the garage mechanic way with duct tape and zip ties if I need to. But like a shop, they're gonna 100% like go all the way. They're like this needs this, we'll order it and we'll get it done right.
That's really cool. That's awesome. I'm the type of guy that's gonna go to AutoZone, give it my keys to the 16-year-old, tell him figure it out, be back in a week.
So going on top of that, why I pick shops, because when I had the CTSV going up in power, I actually going back to the clutch was slipping on the CTSV already. Yep. So I raced the hell out of it until it literally couldn't drive anymore. And then, okay, now I need a clutch. So I went down and took it to Caro. One of the only shops. I think they're now Twin Cities Performance or something.
Okay.
But went in there, did a clutch job, and come to find out, actually, the manufacturer sent out a bad clutch. So the clutch had to get replaced. Well, I should say the trans got dropped 3 times and clutch was replaced twice. Brand new clutch, I think a Monster Stage 3 clutch, so it was fairly expensive. And just thinking about that, doing it myself, if I would install this clutch myself and had issues, I would have been out that clutch and the next clutch rather than a shop and having their word saying that, hey, it's a bad clutch, send me a new one, So, and then they didn't charge me any extra labor because it was a bad clutch, and so they took care of it.
Yeah, right. It's not your fault. There's no reason to charge you double for
the clutch and all the trans drops that they had. So I'm very glad I went with the shop. I saved me, gosh, I don't even know. It was a lot of money actually for that clutch, and then to drop the trans. I mean, you think about it, 2 clutches and 3 drops. That's a fair amount of money.
That adds up real quick, yeah.
So I'm glad I went with the shop that way, and I just said, all right, they took care of me. I'm going to send it to my next car to the shop again. So thank goodness, Mo's, they've been pretty good to me. I can come in there, goof around with the guys, and leave. And
it's chill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's chill.
All the guys there are super chill, and they love talking cars. They love talking shop.
Yep. So it's definitely great, and I got a little Mo's sticker on there, and I definitely think a lot of Mustang guys go to Mo's now.
Yeah. I mean, that helps. But dude, like when I've talked to Dave a handful of times, and the way that dude talks about cars, like next level, like he is out of this world. Like like when I talk to car people who work on their own cars, I already feel dumb. But that dude, like I'm just like, he's not even human. Like he's just so intelligent when it comes down to working on cars.
Oh yeah, he makes me feel stupid too.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't take much. No kidding. But no, like if I feel dumb being around Sean, who works on his cars part time, then I go around guys like him who are on it all the time. It's just like, man.
Yeah, and he races his car too, which is crazy too.
I'm excited. So he's throwing a blower on his too this year. I think
he's going twin turbo.
Oh, twin turbo.
So he's going like balls to the wall.
Wow.
The stuff you see in Texas, I guess. Twin turbo, build block, build trans.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think he said something like 1,500 horsepower.
Fuck me,
so
really?
I'm kind of excited to see what it does, and a lot of people want me to go twin turbo actually. But here's my thing is, if you go twin turbo, obviously the setup is more expensive, right? But you're still making the same amount of horsepower as my little blower. So that blower, the Vortec V3, is the smallest blower that they offer. It flows like 1,000 CFMs, like the smallest of the smallest. And when you go twin turbo, obviously the sky's the limit, but you're still limited by stock block, stock trans.
True.
And you still blow head gaskets, And once you go turbo, you start to flow valves. The supercharger guys don't really have that issue. So most guys, even on twin turbo setups, are still going to be 850, 900, maybe 1,000. You can easily attain all that with a blower.
True.
You know, so depending where you want to put your setup, or how you want to spend your money.
Well, it's tiers to it.
Yeah, I just said, well, why would I spend an extra 10 grand? I'm not saying 10 grand, but extra money to be at the same power level. I'm all about this budget build. I'm gonna go out and beat all these high end guys. So that's my whole thing about why I went with the Vortec. And personally, I've seen it ran on the streets. It's been fairly reliable, and it just works.
Yeah, and it all depends on what your end goal is. You know, if your end goal is to make like 1,500, then do the twin turbo setup.
Yep.
And if you end up just making 1,000 horsepower, and you got to wait till next year until you can do the next round of upgrades, then that's great. But if your end goal is like 1,000 horsepower, then yeah, supercharger. But if you're trying to go further, it's you're gonna spend money on the supercharger, and then you change your goal to like 1,500, and then bam, now you got to get rid of the supercharger. You got to go twin turbo. You're deeper in the hole now. So it is totally dependent on your end goal.
Yeah, and kind of go back to that. That's why I'm getting a bigger blower, is because the Vortec right now is being overspun. Not a huge issue, but you're limited to what you can do with that blower. And unfortunately, people get faster, and more people are building the cars to beat this orange Mustang. So it's like, well, I got to up my game too. And a lot of it comes down to, where do you draw the line in fun, reliability, money, all this sort of stuff that comes into it. But
yeah, and at one point you just got to go, there's always going to be a bigger fish.
Yeah, there's definitely always bigger fish, and yet still staying competitive. For me at least, I still want to be competitive, but knowing that I got to draw the line. So I was going to be dead set I'm keeping the Vortec, and then the company reached out and said, hey, you want to run our blower? And I said, well, you got to give me a good enough price to even make me want to think about switching over. Then they cut me a price, and I said, well, that's cheaper than than any sorts of things. So I said, all right, fine, we'll try it out. And my buddy actually switched to the ESS, and he had great success, crazy numbers. So I'm a little nervous to run it because of the numbers, and I've seen him spin. Because at this level, it's down to traction, really.
Yep.
So that's why I said, I don't want to run it, because I'm having fun at 750 wheel, like 600 some torque, very low traction issues. I've got it dialed down. Why would I throw more power at it? Then there's just more parts, more money, more time, dial it in. And that's a lot of time to try to dial in your setup in a safe location and not ruin the car at the same time, so.
Yeah, suspension's the biggest one I kind of see, especially so some of the cars that are going to be running at Texas, right? Like, they have all this power, but then they have some suspension issues, and they can't put the power down because spinning ain't winning. Like, everybody knows that. So my question: so when did you do that suspension setup on the car?
Oh, so it's still not even in the car.
Okay, you just bought it.
It's just been sitting in the garage, and then actually just while it's at Moe's, they'll probably just throw it on.
Do you think that'll help you, like when you get a little more torque and all that?
A couple guys, this is what they run, just the main stuff. So we got the IRS lockout kit, that pretty much just locks it up, and then you just go straight. And it's the anti-Mustang stuff. So
anti-Mustang stuff, I like it.
The anti-Mustang kit right here. So hopefully it does a lot better, because we did do camber arms to start it off, and when JWP did the alignment, they're like, my gosh, you guys are all racing on -2 camber. Like, what the hell? There's no contact on this tire at all. So I actually ran through 2 sets of Street R's in 8,000 miles because the inner edge was gone. While the other 90% of the tire was brand new. Mm-hmm. So it's just like all those stand-still guys, they're always replacing the tires because the inner edge is gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, not only am I ruining tires, 2 sets of Street R's, it's, what is that, 900, probably good $1,800 right there.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And I could have just got camber arms and had good contact and not ruined tires. So my short-term thought of just buying, tires over and over again is just a money pit. So it's kind of like buy once, cry once. Might as well just get the suspension done. So you start ruining your tires, and you can actually go straight. So that was like my short-term, whatever. Did the camber, so I stopped ruining tires. On top of that, then I can get more contact at the airport and get full traction, not spin so much. But now I'm at the next level of, I'm adding more power, so I'm still having wheel hop issues, so I still need to address that now.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that goes into it of different stages and power, and how much more issues do you really want?
Right. But ultimately, like, a guy who hooks at 700 is better than a guy spinning at 1,000.
Oh yeah, hands down. That's why I always tell people like that brag big numbers is just like, well, what does it do from a 40 roll? Because everyone wants to race whatever they're good at. Well, I only race at 40 roll, and a lot of those big turbo guys, they will never race at a 40 roll because one, they can't spool, and two, they can't get traction. So, and I get a little blower, so I'm not going to do anything from a 80 roll. You know, it's just
Right.
an 80 roll is pretty pointless.
Well, the thing is, though, is there's plenty of cars, especially when you get into that high power range, they can hook well, I shouldn't say just fine, but like, you know, when you start talking some of these 2,000 horsepower guys, like I've been, and has there ever been an episode I don't mention the Viper? But, you know, I've been in the Viper, and it's like the first time we went for a pull, it was 38 degrees outside. Mm-hmm. So cold as shit. And I mean, we were spinning in traction all the way up to like 180 in Mexico. But it's just like, if you were not able to hook, and we did it from a 40 roll and then a 50 roll and a 60 roll, like we didn't have to go into, like some people do it from 80. It's like, bro, fix your shit. Like you're not hooking, and it's not, don't just blame the power, because there's a lot of high power guys that are able to hook. But, you know, I think at 1,000, I think it just comes down to dialing it in and throwing money at the problem.
Yeah, throwing money, and, you know, you're talking about, let's just say the Vipers, right? Like Nymph and Calvo, that's a full-blown, like, super race car. You know, they're on Motec and everything.
Massive invoices on those builds.
Well, yeah, massive invoices. So, like, when you compare, like, my budget build versus, like, a full-blown Motec build, like, the Motec is crazy.
Dude, it's insane.
So, it's about how much money you want to throw at the car. You obviously a garage-built Mustang is not going to be able to compete versus a full-blown Motec car. You know, Motec's, like, that's the high end.
That's that good shit. That's bougie. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, obviously you can't compare, you know, a budget Mustang to, you know, a full-blown built street car, but it's like, but that's how you get an advantage over, like, like if you're against somebody who has all the same shit done as you, but you're able to hook, that's game over. And that's the thing. Have you ever had a race where somebody got a pretty big jump on you and you reeled them in? Like, what do those look like?
At this power level, I mean, the only time they would get a jump is if they're turbo guys.
Right.
You know, they're able to brake boost and they're all-wheel drive, and they just hook and book. But honestly, at this power level, you're not going to be able to reel someone in at this power level unless they have a failure on their end, like they miss shift or they hit boost cut or something. But I think, I'm trying to figure out. No, I really haven't had anything too crazy.
Because, like, once someone's gone, they're kind of gone.
Like, if someone gets the slightest jump at this level, they're gone, and you're not going to be able to catch it. And guys will always say, like, well, why don't you run it to 200? I would have caught you. I'm like, jeez.
You fucking,
So, like, a lot of these cars I raced, I'm
GTI, I kept up. That sounds like me, bro. That sounds like me.
Those GTI guys, they be trying to claim they beat boosted Mustangs, too, and I've been.
They were talking about you in my group chat the other day. I can't remember if it was good or bad, but a bunch of GTI guys were talking about you.
I've been on their ass since I've been boosted. I'm like, you're not being boosted Mustangs. You guys could barely beat my NA Mustang. That was just headers 85. And I know a lot of the local GTI guys. They'll give me some respect about their Vortex XL builds. You know, you're talking DSG, Vortex XL, MPI guys that, you know, making close to a 600 wheel.
Yeah, like Bo was making I think 550, or the blue one, or he used to have the blue one, I think.
Yeah, and, you know, versus a 450. So funny, my black one, I made 402 wheel at DB, and then 452 at MAP. But so I don't know which dyno numbers to go against, but basically just headers 85, and I was basically beating all these big turbo hybrid turbo GTI guys, and they can't figure it out either. Like, there's no way. So when they say that they breed and boost Mustangs, it's like, no, you're not. And
at your level,
and that's why I love what I do, is because people watch YouTube all the time, but then I'm actually going out and proving it myself with my own real world scenarios, I guess, and finding locals that want to line it up to see if it's true on YouTube. Which 9 out of 10 times, I should probably work more than that, but it's never the case. And which is kind of funny. It's just, so now they're just quiet. I guess that's where the cocky part comes into play, because people are like, oh my gosh, he's so cocky about
But you prove it. That's the
Mustang.
thing.
That's what I said. It's like, well, obviously, we all like to talk about our cars. Our cars are the fastest, but what does it actually do? That's where a lot of people back down. Like, well, I don't want to race. I'm like, okay, well then, we don't have any, content here.
We got no data to talk about.
We got
here.
no data. That's why I always say, like, we need some research done. Or
Research. Yeah.
I need some research done. I think one of the best races I had was against Hunter's twin turbo C5, and then the ported Kong 2300. That guy. So when you talk about Texas, and a lot of the guys are 2650 blowers on 0.1s, that's a substantial amount of power in a ZR1 also.
What kind of power are we talking about?
So he said he made, dude, I don't even know, like 900. I think like 900 wheel.
Jeez.
And I was pretty scared when I saw it. And it was like a ported 2300. It's got all the works. I'm like, yo, this is like the holy grail in Texas. And a C6 platform. Okay, I'm gonna lose. And I just got the car retuned, so I made 844.
Yep.
Just for this event.
1,000.
Yeah. So I changed my number to, I'm gonna say I'm gonna make 1,000, because it was 844 to the wheels. It's almost 1,000 to the crank, right? So I just said whatever, and no one believed my numbers anyway. So I'm just gonna say I make 1,000.
Yeah.
Because no one's gonna believe like an 844 wheel 10-speed Mustang beat a 900 wheel C601.
Right.
People just aren't gonna believe that, because YouTube has shown everyone that heads cam C6 Z06s clap and boosted Mustangs. I'm like, well, there's no way. So I actually cannot find a heads cam C6 Z06 that want to race a boosted Mustang around here, at least. There's probably some out there, but I haven't found one yet that wants to try it out, because obviously I'm going to throw it on YouTube and put some shame on there. So
right.
I ran it, and the first race, he said he was nervous and he misshifted. So I was like, okay, we'll rerun it. Reran it again. He just said, oh, wow, those things are fast for a budget build. Like, I've got the whole works, heads cam, port 2300. Your Mustang's fast.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, it does all right for $12,000 in parts. He's like, 12,000 in parts? Yep. He was shocked. He said, Jesus Christ. So he literally said, I'm not getting a GT500. I'm buying me a freaking $30,000 Mustang, and I'm putting 12,000 in parts. And
dude, yeah, that's nuts.
So I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what people don't understand. And he said, I don't care that I got a Mustang. Like, that thing's fast. And people don't understand that for a budget build, it really does get down pretty good. And it surprises a lot of people, because the Vortec V3 is the smallest blower too.
Right.
And I think that's even better, is because I'm on the smallest blower beating a lot of these cars that I shouldn't be beating according to YouTube, that I am beating. And then there's only more to be gained from here, really. And
well, I'm excited, because you're going to be, like you told me, you should be putting down a little bit more torque with the new setup. So
yeah, so with the new setup, I think the previous guy, he made 150 more torque compared to the Vortec V3. So that's pretty scary. And these blowers come on like at 3,500 RPMs anyway. So I have a good power band all the way up, and it makes Whipple torque without all the Whipple issues. A lot of guys that run Whipple or twin screw setups, heat soak is.
Sean got fed up with your shit. He left the studio.
He left. He said, I gotta leave. I'm sick of these Mustang talk. We haven't even talked about Mopars yet.
Yeah, no, he probably I saw him texting. It was probably the wifey or something. But yeah, but no, dude, I'm really excited for the new setup too. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Like I've been trying to keep up with your content as well. Like today I spent like maybe a half hour just going through watching your races. I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
nope.
So the Mustang's definitely been out and racing, and that's another thing what I love is just I'm going out there and actually using the car. And I think that's why when the sponsorships came in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And
well, you got 10,000 miles on that previous, or on the boosted setup, I think you said, right?
So total mileage is about 10,000 miles now. So I've been boosted for 10,000 miles, and most of it honestly has just been racing. I mean, I drive it to
a lot of racing.
I drive it to the morning shows or night shows, but for the most part, it's been ran, and a lot of data's been there. We're trying to complete the library of cars that we're trying to gap, but
yeah. Well, it's been tried and proven, and I think like that's again where we kind of go back to like you getting sponsors, you know, like as your views get more and more and as your build gets more in depth, you know, people are gonna want to come to you. They're like, oh yeah, this guy knows, he's tried and proven.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's gonna work to your advantage. I mean, how long have you been doing YouTube for now?
So I started YouTube in college with my Scion TC, and that was just kind of like fun messing around in Indianapolis because they had a pretty good scene down there too. And
That's right. Yeah, you moved down there for a little bit, right?
yeah, I moved down there, went to tech school for cars, and yeah, it was all right. I kind of want to stay down there because the car scene is crazy, but that's another reason why I want to go back and visit them because I got a decent following, I guess, in Indiana because I'm close enough, and they want to try out the Mustang because they got streetcar takeover there and stuff too. So the Mustang's pretty well known, I should say. A lot of guys want to see me in Texas, which I'm not going to.
Loser.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people think I make like 1,200. Like, it's crazy. People just, they think that I'm on nitrous. They think I'm sandbagging my numbers. Could be. I don't know. I haven't found out that my real numbers yet, really. But I'm not on nitrous. I don't make 1,000 wheel. You know, I only made 844 of the wheels with that Vortec V3. And if anyone knows anything, you know, you can't really make that much horsepower on a 3.4 pulley on a Vortec V3. Like, It's just not going to happen. It's a quick, reliable setup, though. It'll definitely get a lot of people if they're sleeping, but as far as versing big twin turbo guys, yeah, it's just no chance. And like I've raced a couple other twin turbos or even single turbo guys, like the G8. Yeah, I could beat them from a 40 all day, but once it's the 60 roll, I mean, I'm getting clapped.
Right.
So you kind of have to play by what your car is good at. But if they're manual, you know, I definitely want to try them at 40 so they can make that 2 to 3 shift. It's always so hard for manual guys is when they're racing and they're nervous, try to hit that 2 to 3 shift, and then I'm in the auto and I just keep going.
Yeah, just gone. Well, you got fucking 10 gears too.
We only use 7 though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're not touching those. Yeah, like I saw a TikTok about that the other day. It's like who the like you here's you pull up on a 10-speed Mustang, they downshift 7 times. It's like who the fuck is in 10th gear? You know?
Yeah, no, it's very true. It definitely takes a while to downshift. People don't understand that either. Like sitting there like downshift. I did a video like on TikTok or something like when 2 boosted 10 speeds line up, it's just like 20 seconds of downshifting. Like,
It's like a scene from Fast and Furious.
yeah, no, like it's just like how many times are they shifting? Like, oh my goodness! Like, I thought a quarter mile is 12 seconds. This is a 2-minute video. So it's definitely like that.
Jeez, that's a good one.
I've been trying new things with the Mustang, and definitely think it's been crazy. Like I started that 360 video too, and
that's awesome. Yeah, it's a great way to view things, and it's really come into its own in the last few years.
I raced Brian CTSV.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
That's another one that I thought was pretty funny. I did about Brian, and because he's got a following too. So I'm about to roast Brian here, but so all of his followers think he's like untouchable, ungodly, just mad fast. Heads cam CTSV, like the CTSVs are so fast, and I was like, yeah, they're okay. You know, I had one, and I was like, hey Brian, I gotta try this out. You know, YouTube and TikTok's been talking too much. You know, like we gotta put this to the test. Come on, you make 800 some wheel horsepower. I only made
1,000.
Yeah, I made 1,000 for this video. But I say we gotta try this out. I want to see if it's true or if the claims are true on social media. So we ran it, and I pretty much blew Brian out of the waters. And Brian was shocked.
Put buses on him.
Yeah, so Brian was shocked, and Brian was like, "Oh my god, like what the heck?"
That's probably the reason why he went big single.
Yeah,
You're the reason why.
Brian, that's why you went big single. So, and then I was like, I don't know if I should post these videos of Brian losing, because all TikTok is just like, this CTSV's gapping people. I think I even did a funny Stitch video of Brian. Brian said like pull up or something, and then I did my little Stitch video of me beating Brian, and it was pretty bad. And then I actually gave Brian a ride, and Brian said, "This is dumb. This is stupid. This should be illegal." So it definitely did good. The twin turbo Dodge Charger, super sleeper. I mean,
yeah.
There's a couple cars on there, like the RS3s for just bolt-ons. I mean, they're quick too.
Yeah, man, you have a hell of a library of racing cars here.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is all at the airport too. Like, that's why I kind of went there, because I got to see like a change of scene. People with different cars, different variety of things
right.
there, and the night scene's the night scene, but going out and seeing a different crowd in a whole different state brings a whole different group of people there. That's what I was just all about. I want to see different things, because you see this stuff at night. It's the same stuff.
It is, especially when you stay local or whatever.
Yeah,
but
local. It's the same stuff, and there's really not much variety at this level. So I just said I gotta start pushing different things. Where are all the different cars at? Well, they're at the track, because these are all, I guess, grown men. they race
so,
during
yeah.
the day and they go home and chill at night. So
Yeah.
well, it's interesting. I mean, there's plenty of grown men at the night races too, but the thing is like there comes a point in every boy's life where they kind of stop taking those risks. Like, I know guys who still go out to the street scene, but they'd rather go to the track.
yeah,
It's just, you're going to see a lot more people there because it's a lot less risk, I guess, in a
Yep.
way. So that makes sense.
yeah, and that was definitely a big change in my life. Once you build a house, you got priorities. Wife, kids. It's hard to kiss them goodnight and then you leave and go do dumb stuff with your boys. Like,
Yeah, true.
you gotta stop doing that stuff. It just comes in time in life, and we're not gonna do that anymore. But like when I raced that big single S197 with a TH400, I thought he was gonna totally beat me, because you're talking about S197 with a TH400
Right.
single turbo. Oh my gosh, like, turbos are gonna kill you. But
Yeah.
we ran it, and it wasn't enough justice for me to switch to a turbo platform, I should say. He got me on one and I got him on the other when it was a fair start. So he just said, wow. I was like,
Impressive, yeah.
wow. Like, I'm impressed too, because YouTube and social media has always said turbos are going to outshine you, and when it comes to racing. Well, I just proved that I didn't, and he had a TH400. So is what it is. And with the Camaro guys, I think I was talking enough shit that they sent out some fast Camaros. So these Camaros were 10 speeds, and they had 2650s on them.
Okay.
Full blown builds. I beat the one that was on 93, and the other one had E50 here, and he made 1,000 wheel horsepower. Real
horsepower.
real
Yeah. Not
real
behind the
horsepower.
balls.
So not behind the balls, and yeah, it's pretty clear that he's 1,000 real wheel horsepower. But all in all, it's just all for fun and just seeing what you can get from the library. I don't know, just
So crazy. I like it. Well, I think you should definitely throw a sticker on this season, call it Mustang Labs or some sort of research purposes, I don't know. You should be the guy.
yeah, I think so.
I think you'll be the guy. Do you have any I feel like we can talk for hours. Like,
Dude, we definitely could.
So,
We haven't even cracked the surface about like our local like car scene and stuff. We just been ranting and babbling.
Yeah, no, I mean,
dumb stuff.
you're definitely coming up on a record episode here, like for lengthwise. So that's kind of why I was like, man, this is. I mean, how do you feel? Should we keep on going? Should we keep cooking?
Well, I just wanted to update everybody on the Texas 2K Durango. Just letting everybody know that I finally got the welds to fit. So I was having an issue with the fronts. They weren't clearing my huge 6-piston calipers. So I had to bust out an angle grinder, and we had to shave down the Brembos to fit the welds. And oh my gosh, it was literal pain. I spent about an hour on each caliper and kept refitting the wheel and finding a new area that it was touching. And I've also had to scuff up my weld, and it's in rough shape. The barrel looks rough, so I got to get that polished this weekend. But hey, they finally fit, and I think we're almost on 100% ready for Texas 2K. The last thing that I need are new brake pads to make sure I stop.
Yeah, so that was a nice, fun little update for the Durango. That had me nervous for a little bit, but I think that's kind of where we're at on that build.
Yeah, you were there when we tried fitting the fronts on, and we were immediately like the wheel wasn't turning, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Pulled the wheel off, and we could see on the caliper it literally like touched on the top and bottom.
That was gnarly.
And I didn't notice until I started grinding down the caliper. But for some reason, the caliper isn't just like uniform. It's almost like at an angle how it curves out. And it's the weirdest thing. Why did they have to do that? If it wasn't like that from the beginning, and if it was just nice and flat all the way, like from the back to front, it wouldn't have to be shaved down. But because of that, I had to shave it all down, and it's just exposed aluminum right now, and I got to get it painted so no salt, no corrosion will happen. And then after this, I'll get the calipers powder coated, because I thought I was just gonna need like a little touch up. I was just gonna have to shave off like a millimeter or two. Ended up shaving like inches off of it. Yeah, well, like across the face, and then about 3 millimeters worth of material off. It was insane, but
fucking nuts.
Yeah, so
the DIY projects, you should definitely. Yeah, that's nuts.
It was rough. And apparently this is common for other cars too, like GTRs who want to run welds.
Oh, really?
They also have to shave down their calipers. So it happens to a lot of people, and for some people this is kind of normal, but for me this was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
Yeah, I get it. You can't get it up. It happens to a lot of men.
Okay. No, I'm not talking about that, but it's also kind of like I don't know, like cutting away parts of your car that aren't supposed to be cut away.
Yeah.
Like, that is like sacrilege.
It is. That's fucking nuts, dude. Well, dude, we're coming up on kind of like the tail end here, but I know you said you wanted to touch on like the local car scene. I mean, do you want to just jump into that real quick?
I'll just say
wrap
real
up?
quick, for anyone that wants to get into it, because a lot of people come up to me and say, how do they start? I actually just started recording everything on my phone, and you're already at the shows, at the events, or at the races. Just record, just post them up. And it's funny that only like 2% of my views are actually local. So that's another thing too that you gotta keep in mind. Just because you post something up doesn't mean you gotta have a big following. I just go out there and record and post it up, and in time, if it's good content, good quality content, people are gonna view it anyways, So,
right. So when do you start doing quality content? When's that start?
I honestly don't even know, because I shoot a lot of stuff. I actually shoot a lot of stuff and edit a lot of my videos on my iPhone.
Yeah, same.
So people don't understand that either. You don't need a big expensive rig, a big camera, and an expensive computer to edit, put up good quality videos. I only carry the big camera rig around because if I'm shooting a 40-minute video or clip at an event or something, the file sizes are astronomically smaller.
Okay.
On there than shooting on an iPhone.
Huh.
So that's why I do that. And the camera's gotten me in crazy places, like at proving grounds. I was able to go backstage everywhere, in the drift pits with the big camera. So they're just like, hey, throw on a vest. You look important. I'm like, oh, sweet. So
yeah.
It kind of worked out to my advantage. But for anyone that wants to start, just do it. Use the negativity to push yourself, and use that in a positive way, because everyone's going to give you crap. I was going to say, there's a million other YouTubers out there, or, other influencers out there. Why would you go do it? Or why would you pick the most common Mustang? Mustangs are so common. Why would you pick a Mustang to do content with? There's always going to be someone that says something negative to you and can discourage you, and hopefully you fail. But in the end, I mean, I would say we're doing pretty good in the Minnesota scene. Me, Trey, Brian, Coobs, a couple other social influencers out there, but for the most part, we're just all having fun. We're not going into this thinking we're going to make millions. Even though that'd be cool, but we're all just doing this because we have natural heart in it.
All right. So you're telling me follow my dreams, make my OnlyFans. Gotcha.
Yes.
No, but I think there's a lot to be said, and I think every time we have an influencer on, so whether it's Brian, Trey, yourself, that's actually 3 in a row now. It's actually kind of funny. Not by plan or anything, but there's something to be said for that, right? Like if you go into it, just have a little bit of fun. It resonates with people, right? Like, I actually enjoyed watching your video. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch like 2 minutes of this motherfucker's video, and then I'm gonna move on with my day. No, I watched the full 10-minute one, which is talking about you going to 1,000 allegedly. And I'm just like, this is actually the way you were doing it. I could tell you were doing it for a long time, and this is why our conversations with Brian and Trey were so long, because you guys are content creators. You guys know how to talk whether or not you have that confidence in yourself. It seems like you do. You know, you're pretty cocky. But like, there's something to be said for that. You know, if you practice it long enough, you know, yeah, there's a million guys, but not a million guys have the longevity too. All right. There's no more failed dreams anywhere in the world than youtube.com.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are like, I'm going to do this. And then they give up, you know, either it gets too expensive because they try to go too big too soon, or they just, you know, they get tired or whatever. So I think our local scenes been getting better, or their dreams just get crushed. That's the other thing
I don't
too.
know. Maybe I'll be nicer this year, not talk so much crap about
I think you should
cars.
talk more.
And that's another part. Like, I'm just going out and having fun because,
Right.
especially like on car shows, car events, you know, there's like 40, 50 cars. There may be 100 plus cars there, but most photographers, videographers only choose like the 3 or 4 Lamborghinis to make themselves a cinematic
Listen, I'll
video.
shoot anything if you pay me.
So I think a lot of people that attend these events want to be included.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of like sets me apart is I actually walk around and talk smack about pretty much everyone's car there, rather than, oh my gosh, it's the same 3 Lambos again. Like, come on. Are you going to show my Supra over here that just got wheels on there? You know, like, so I try to include everyone, but at the same time, I'm about to roast everyone. So
I think so. I think that's and it's also something that Trey said last episode too. He's like, yeah, that ain't it. That ain't me. You know, like you'll be looking at something like that's not that. I don't like that. That's not for me. So I think there's a level of honesty in the car community that's unparalleled. Like the amount of shit talk in the community, I think it kind of puts everybody. It just reminds everybody like, hey, let's get that ego down. Your shit's mid. You know. So
that is true, and I ain't got much to say.
We just went from a pep talk to a shit talk real quick.
I got the cheapest wheels on my Mustang, and they do just fine. You know, I don't have any exterior mods because they're about to get dinged up, scratched up, driving the way I do, and I can't live with that. And my wheels are plastic dipped, so that's whatever.
I like it. A man's mod.
So it's okay to flex nothing at car shows, car meets. You know, it's all right.
Man, I know we could for sure be here for, you know, probably 24 hours. You could talk. You're really easy to talk to, by the way. Like, you know, I talked to you for like a solid 1 minute at the 94 meet a few years ago. So it was really awesome.
Funny how we met. You're like, you want to do some rollers? Like, what's a roller? Just follow me.
Oh my, I got to find that picture. Yeah, dude, that was a fucking chaotic.
Good picture. That was like one of my first meets ever.
Yeah.
I was like, this is chaotic as hell.
That was chaos. Yeah, that was wild. Like, I was just walking up to people, let's go get some rollers, but that's awesome, man. I know for a fact that, you know, a lot of the guests that we've had, we'll probably have them back on again, you know, just because the amount of support we've been seeing here is pretty sweet. So awesome. Thank you for coming on. Do you have some social content to share with us? Like, where can people find you, I guess? Sean usually does this part.
Yeah, you stole this part from me.
Yeah. Well, is there more to it? Ask more questions.
No, I mean, like, you said it in so many words, but...
Yeah, I know.
So you guys can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, 651MYGarage. I also have some merchandise, you guys. So click that link on Shopify. Buy yourself some Mustang merch. You know, it's a big orange turbo Mustang with big slicks on the front and rear.
And what about anything for your sponsors? Let's get you paid, man.
Big shout out to ESS for giving me a shot, trying out the supercharger for sure, and a huge shout out to Mose for taking care of the Mustang, you know. And there's so many people I want to thank, but definitely those two for sure. And my tuner,
yeah, man. Thank your mom. Let's get it going.
My mom for saying no race cars in my life. My dad for absolutely hating race cars. You know, my wife still supports me. Thank goodness for now. But huge shout out to everyone that's been part of my life. Huge shout out to the Stage 2 Subaru guys, you know, for giving me the content, giving me the heart to gap in you guys. But everyone's just been so great. Honestly, a lot of people just, I don't know, just been so, what's the word I'm looking for? Motivating me, I guess. I don't know. I've had a lot of motivation in my life, so I just...
Yeah, start crying. You'll get us some views, too.
Yeah, I need to that's another thing, too, I want to talk. Like, just... I know we keep talking forever, but, like, I'm so blunt with my YouTube videos. I'd be like, that was slow. Like, that was fast. So, like, my first Stage 2 video I did review, I said this is slow, and people roasted me for that. So I think for this year, I'm going to be nicer to people and put more of a fake face on for people, you know.
We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah, feel it out for sure. Well, we look forward to seeing more of your content. Now, obviously, Sean, your handles.
If you want to follow me, highly suggest it. I'm trying to take the advice of the last 3 content creators we've had. Then they've all said basically the same thing, is just to get out there and start recording on your phone. You know, don't wait for, you know, the new GoPro. Don't wait for the new big video camera, or, you know, you need a new graphics card on your PC. I'm just going to start recording stuff and editing stuff so I can create content for my Instagram, 1MNMopar. And then you can also check out our host. You guys should already all know who he is. You're here because of him, but he can let you know anyways.
I love how you cut me off. I was taking a deep breath to say some dumb shit too, because every time, you know, I'm like, well, y'all fucking know me, you know. So, but no, it was a great time. Thank you to everybody for all the support. Please make sure to share. And it's also photo shoot season coming up here soon. So if you want to, well, I guess all the money from photo shoots kind of is going towards the podcast. I'm really excited because there's a lot more investments I want to make to this setup to make it better. So come get some JPEGs, boys. Thank you very much to Mike and Sean.
Thanks.
Yep. See you guys.
See ya.